Hello and welcome to this episode. And now in this episode we are going to write down the code that we created in the previous episode that was adding two integers, two numbers to one another. We're going to write it down here in our IDE in div C++ and see the results on our own and see how it works. So let's go and get started. I want to create a comment, 2 backslashes, then the title of my program, adding two numbers. And then after that I want to include the preprocessor directive and the header file, include stdio.h. Once the header file is included, it's time for me to go to the main function and create the main function. Int main void and the starting and enclosing brackets of the main function. Now inside of the main function I want to create my variables. Int num1 is equal to 0. Int num2 has an initial value of 0. Then printf, and in this printf I want to tell the user enter the first number, right? And then scanf, because the user is going to enter a number and I'm going to use the scanf to read that number. This is the conversion specification %signed D for integer, and we will talk about conversion specifications later on in the coming episodes. And where do I want to store the number that I read from the user? I want to store it here in num1. This ampersand sign that you can see in here, this is called the address operator, and we will also discuss why we use this address operator in here. The same thing is going to be repeated for the second number. And here in the second number, instead of num1, I will provide the name of the variable num2 because we want to store it in this num2 variable. Now it's time for me to create the variable sum. Int sum is equal to num1 added to num2. And once we have the result, which is stored in sum, we want to print it back to the user. Printf result is %signed D and then sum. Basically in this printf statement, this %signed D is going to be replaced with the value of sum. And once again, we will discuss about this in the coming episodes. So now it's time for us to run this program. If I am going to go to execute in here, and the order is that we always compile first and then we run. But usually I click this command because it will compile and run at the same time, so it becomes easier. Instead of going through the steps, compile and run, I can quickly go and compile and run. But before each compilation or running of a program, we need to save that program in a file, obviously. So it's time for me to go and save this file. I will name it adding to number. The type of the file is going to be a C source file, and save it. And now the program is going to be compiled and also run. Enter the first number. The first number is going to be 45. Enter the second number. The second number that I want to use is going to be 67, and the result is 112. And that's it for this episode. Stay tuned as I will cover all of these lines of code in more details in the coming episodes, so you can understand this program in a better way and you can write your own programs similar to this program.